Why do you think cold calling is acceptable? I'm a realtor who has never cold called. Never considered it, never wanted to even allow myself to think about it. I don't want unsolicited phone calls to my phone. Why would I think it's okay to do that to somebody else? How do you guys justify it? All in the name of a buck? Is it that simple? Do you think people don't mind unsolicited calls? Do you think you're doing them a favor? What am I missing in my thought process that won't allow me to think that cold calling is a reasonable practice? The difference in attitude towards cold calling on here and our sales is like night and day. I door knock. 30 of my business. I know on the commercial investment side, cold calling often results in matching buyers and sellers. I.e. cold callers often provide value. When you need to put food on the table for your family, making a phone call is hardly an ask. I immigrated, my family had no one and knew no one in the area. All I had was a phone and a list of potential clients. It wasn't even a question. Like someone else said, it's just marketing. I can see how it could be annoying, but as I've gotten older I understand that people are just trying to hustle and earn a living, and I respect that, as long as they're not dishonest or rude. We also sold a house with an agent that cold called us once. He just happened to catch us at the right time, so I know it can work. Not everyone is going to be a potential customer, but some people are. If I really don't want to talk to someone, I just don't answer the phone. There's people out there who don't have an agent who are looking to buy sell, and there are agents who crush it by calling. The people who scream at me over getting calls are people who I wouldn't want to do business with anyways. I can sit at my desk and talk to 30 people in a day. What other prospecting method can help me directly reach out to people in a few hours? I never liked it, even before the do not call list. Now with that list, you have a greater chance of problems from it. It's much better to find a way to generate inbound leads that at least want to talk to you. A website with an IDX and optional registration to save searches, mailers with property valuation links, etc. If they give you their number to get the product, they give you permission to call them, often a required checkbox or a blurb that they grant permission, etc. Can also look at it from the perspective that there's a lot of crappy agents out there, and the professional, assertive agent that cold calls to win their business saves them from potentially getting stuck with substandard representation. I called an expired a few months back. Met with them and took the listing. She cried at closing, hugging me and thanking me for helping her out of the bind they were in. The last agent left them feeling hopeless. Why do you think that is not okay? We provide a service. I will continue to call people who need my services regardless of how scared you are to pick up the phone. It happens every day in B2B sales. Ever hear of a gatekeeper? It's just a part of sales, no matter what industry you're in. Having a good script plan goes a long way. It's fine, don't do it, just sit around and hope clients come to you magically. The reality is it works. Lol, I worked for Hilton and from the foundation of the business they still cold call for new business. Not rocket science. It's just marketing. Call 1K people, get one deal, get referrals. That one can give you so much. You must be a lead generator in a way that works for you. I don't like the calls, but I don't get furious like some people might. You are doing them a favor in a sense. They might need information and a realtor, you're lucky enough to be there so you can give them the best real estate experience. I hate cold calling, but I respect those with the balls to do it. I'm never mean to cold callers because I get it. Cold texting too. I hate that shit and get calls and texts trying to buy my home that will never be for sale. I had to cold call when I worked for an insurance guy. My God, people are mean to the poor 19-year-old making $8 an hour, just trying to do her job. All those calls and 0 customers. I designed a mailer for the agent and got like 8 customers and 0 abuse. I will never cold call again. I'll do whatever I can for business when it means taking care of my family. People will say they hate cold calls all People who cold call get hired more than people who don't. I've lost deals to people who have cold called. And a majority of my organic business started as a cold call. People can complain about it all they want, but they aren't hiring realtors with fancy websites, YouTube marketing, or whatever else. They hire off of the Zillow button, and cold calls. The biggest team in my area does nothing but cold calls. While everyone here is struggling, the cold call guys are on their 20th closing this year. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume you don't do much business. What are you missing? Smiley face. I've been selling real estate for over 15 years and have built my entire business on cold calling FSBOs and expireds. Obviously a lot of my business now is sphere of influence, but the funny thing is a lot of my sphere now are people I met from expireds and FSBOs. I'm a new agent. I cold call. And I'm making money in my first 6 months. I think it's all about how you present yourself. I have a naturally disarming personality. I've had other successful sales positions. I cold called while working them, also. No one has ever been overtly rude or aggressive to me. No one has made me feel threatened. And I've gotten business because of it. When I cold call I am not pushy. I explain value more than anything. I ask questions and shut up and listen. I'm with you. And by the way, I interpret cold calling as anything from a phone book to an externally created list of leads, as in people that have not directly expressed an interest in selling their homes. When they have, whether by providing you their contact info or by having recently delisted their properties, by definition that is not considered cold. I would never do to any other person what I wouldn't want done to myself. You have your conscience and you live by it. That's integrity, and that matters. I'm a chef who has never eaten pasta. Never considered it, never wanted to even allow myself to think about it. I don't want pasta eaters in my house. Why would I think it's okay to make pasta for somebody else? How do you guys justify it? All in the name of a buck? Is it that simple? Do you think people don't mind eating pasta? Do you think you're doing them a favor? What am I missing in my thought process that won't allow me to think that cooking pasta is a reasonable practice? Lol, yes I do, and have listed many homes doing this. They were happy when I sold their home SMH. I think it's funny you judge calls, yet do you send unsolicited postcards, unsolicited online ads, unsolicited follow-ups from an open house? Those are all cool, yet cold calling is bad. Okay bud. Finally someone speaks the truth. This is disgusting. What's going on? If Tony Robbins called or came to my house, I wouldn't be mad. It works because you reach someone on the other side who needed your services and gets something out of it. No one gets tricked here. We provide a service that people need. Cold calling happens to be an effective way to reach that group. And the group that needed us is happy we called. Just curious, how do you generate your leads? I have never cold called, but they don't really bother me as I don't answer any numbers I don't know anyways, and obviously it works or is helpful to some people. I find it highly annoying. I don't want anyone contacting me unsolicited about any type of transaction. Good way for me to never do business with that company. Cold calling is a talent like picking up people at bars. If you're good at it, then you can score major points and make a good living, but on the flip side, if you suck, it's a form or harassment and you'll be switching jobs every year chasing your tail. Cold calling is not for everyone but for the select few. You either love it or hate it. While I don't like the typical cold caller, I don't mind realtors calling me nearly as much. Especially if they have a buyer. I know they always say they have a buyer, but sometimes they do. I do respect the hustle. But I will say a complete stranger calling me from the other side of the county to list my home is just stupid to me. Why would I list my home with such a person? If it's someone who's an expert in the neighborhood and has buyers, that's a different discussion. Point of the matter is, if you're going to cold call me, you better have a legitimate value proposition.